That's why we pay the big bucks.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, you know,
we're live on YouTube. Mr. Hurst, the meeting is
Okay.
yours.
Thank you. Let's call this meeting to order. Have the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag,
Okay.
of
allegiance
United
to the
States
flag,
of America,
United States
and
of
to the
America,
Republic
for which
and
it
to
which
the
it stands,
stands,
for which it
one nation,
under
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 God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
liberty and
justice
justice for all.
Okay, roll call
Hurst,
here.
Duff, Nye,
here,
She will
Martini,
not be attending.
here,
Sargent, Malik,
Here.
Snyder.
Here,
Bob, you mentioned actually we need to say state where we're at. Is that for council or is that for boards as well?
No, that's for Zoom meetings. I guess it's something that the state has passed. So technically, if we do how we did it on council, when we did the roll call, okay, and I'll just start like say, my name's called Malik. I'll say Malik here, Wolverine Lake Village, Michigan. Okay, and that it's something that I guess either the federal or the state, because of everything being Zoomed, they got to know or want to know where we are.
Okay, so
Technically, we might want to redo the roll call.
okay. Let's
Sure.
redo the roll call
Hurst,
here in Walled Lake, Michigan.
Nye,
here in Walled Lake, Michigan, or Wolverine Lake, Michigan.
Martini,
Here, Wolverine Lake, Michigan.
Malik,
Here, Wolverine Lake, Michigan.
Snyder,
here, Wolverine Lake, Michigan.
and Duff and Sargent are absent this evening.
Yes.
Okay.
Bob,
Yes.
what happens if we're not in Wolverine Lake, Michigan? Does it
Well,
matter?
nothing. It's not that they want to know where you are for participation.
Okay.
Like I say,
all right.
this was something that was brought up at our last council meeting, that we
Great.
had to do that. So
Okay.
it doesn't affect the meeting in any way. It's just like, as an example, I have a daughter who lives out in Idaho. Let's say I was in Idaho and I'm on the Zoom meeting. They want to know where I'm at. So,
All righty. Thank you.
yeah, no problem.
Call to the public. Do we have anybody from the public that would like to speak to the board?
There are no members of the public on the line right now.
So we'll move on to our discussion. The purpose of the meeting is to focus on the sewer SAD. Just need to caution everybody, we cannot make a motion at this meeting. We have to do it at our regular meeting. Hopefully we'll be valid by then. So I have put together some quick slides here. I had a meeting with, let me know when you guys can see that. Oh, I'm sorry, forget it. Hang on, the right button. Let me
Yep,
know
got
when-
it.
Okay.
There it is.
I had a meeting with the village treasurer and the village administrator yesterday or the day before, and learned a lot. So and probably learned a lot of stuff that Bob already knows, but we're gonna trudge this anyway. So just a few things that I learned on the is that this action is by the village, not by the board. And it's highly regulated and highly defined. They had one back in 2018. It requires village resources, not only time, but also some money to issue the bonds that will be used to finance the SAD. Those bonds, there's an administrative fee of something like $1,800 that ends up getting amortized across the entire SAD. the SAD is to spread out the cost of the hookup to sewer over 10 years, paid back to the village through individual homeowner taxation. There's two components to it. That's the installation of the grinder pump and connection to the sewer. That's the part that's in the taxes. I'm pretty sure the rest of it is, a one-time deal by the homeowner that has to hook up between the house and the grinder pump. I went through this process a few years ago and honestly don't remember a lot of the details. I was at the tail end and barely got on the SAD. Luckily we did. So I'm actually in this program as well, but frankly, there were so many things going on. I don't remember a whole lot of what was going on. I don't remember a lot of the details, but we'll get into that. We need at least 30 homeowners to be on the petition to make it viable for the village. That's because of the cost and time that allotted to make this SAD happen. Also got some clarification on the process. The village sent me the steps that you see there to create a special SAD, but probably most important to us is what do we have to do as a board to get the process going. Very clear to me that we should not do anything until we tell council what we intend on doing. So I think at our next board meeting, we need to put together a very descriptive motion to establish the 2020 sewer SAD. That needs to include, and this was
2021 now.
pardon me. Oh
2021
geez,
now.
man, I'm okay. Sorry. See, I need somebody reading my slides besides me. Okay, 2021. But anyway,
You name the file right though, so
you know what I want. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm still stuck in the last year. Not that I want to be there.
I was just saying, didn't everybody want to get the hell out of last year?
Yeah. Anyway, and based on my conversation, two things that were recommended from the administrator and the treasurer was that, first of all, when we make this motion to council, we let them know how many people we think are already interested, and also that we request that they set up the informational meeting with interested parties and the village engineer, and I should add to that the village treasurer as well. Okay. It's really important for us, we can't do anything until the council agrees that this is going to happen. And I think that getting ahead of them with announcements on Facebook or the website would just be really counterproductive. So once we get the motion put together, up to them, that'll be mid-February 2021. We'll then want to put a notice in the website of petitioning concurrently start petitioning if we need to go out there and beat the street. But in all cases, including anything we put on Facebook, I think we need to make sure we've got the village and council buy-in. So later on, I've written out a recommend or a proposed motion that we can staff and figure out what we want to do with. But anyway, on the village side, minimum of 30 people, households. There's got to be 2 public hearings and all the details of that in advertising in the spinal column. And once we get to that point, we've got that, we've got the petition filled out, then the council will approve the special assessment roll. And so it's very, very, once we get to that point where we've got the 30 signatures on the petition, it's basically over to the village to roll out get the bonds issued and get all the taxes set up for the people that are gonna be participating. So I guess the most important thing to this board is that we put together this motion as quickly as possible, which will be at the next meeting, February meeting, and get it up to council. Petition, I actually contacted Dave, the administrator, about this, but the petition could be filled out online, actually, but it still needs to be notarized. So it's still easier for folks to go to the village and get their petition notarized at the village, or if there's folks like us out there on the streets getting people to sign, our signatures are validated as well. So that's how the petition works. As far as what we're all going to be doing, I know I have no problem being the point man with the village and keeping things, kind of one channel with them. It probably will help keep things moving along. I will then also call into the February council meeting to support the motion that we're going to make at the water board meeting early February. Ryan, I see you as, upon approval, putting together the whatever media posts we need to put out in the social media. And Paul, if you craft up the bulletin to be put in the website. And I'm speaking awfully fast because I'm almost done, but all of us, we need to review a proposed motion and then have it ready for the next meeting. Because I just would rather just, rubber stamp this at the next meeting, make sure it's fully defined, fully covered, and, move on. So.
Hey, Mike, do we need our 30 people before we do a motion?
No. But what we probably need, what we really need is, we know that there is 10 households already interested, or whatever that number is. If it's 2, I don't think we're going to get very far.
I have 19 people that reached out.
Oh,
to me
great.
and
And
said,
that
"We're
19 number is fantastic. Okay. So if you know of 19, by the time we get into February, we could probably round up to 20 and say, we know of 20 households that are interested. And that, to me, would be enough momentum for the council to move forward.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was 2, it'd be a different story. But if we've got 2/3 of it already nailed down, or already pretty
People
well.
at least asking for more information.
Okay,
What's next?
well, that's a good number, Ryan, and that's outstanding. So I'm comfortable that if we go to the village with 20, that or more, that'll be easily enough to get over the hump and get moving on it. Because they still they're not gonna do the SAD until they get to the 30, but I think with 20, we're far enough along.
And 10 of the 20 will probably decide not to. We're gonna have to drum up some interest elsewhere. It'll
Right.
make it happen.
And it's probably very possible that when we start putting things on the website in Spinal Column and post this informational meetings, that we'll get a lot more. There'll be other avenues of interest. So anyway, I wrote up this proposed motion hopefully to conclude all this. And the other thing is that it's a little descriptive, because I want to make sure the council is comfortable that what we want to do to support this, and that we're also not just throwing it over a wall and seeing what happens. Okay, so I wrote
Right.
that we would recommend to create the sewer SAD as of this date, which we'll say we're probably going to be looking at like 20 plus homeowners interested in SAD. And then upon approval by council, we request an informational meeting be posted. And the purpose of the meeting is for the village engineer to explain how the hookup works. That doesn't sound very good, but how hooking up to the sewer works. And then the village treasurer to explain the taxation or the money side of it, because I think that's obviously a concern people are going to have.
Yeah.
And then in
So,
both, yes, Bob.
No, go ahead, finish. I'll ask
we
after.
need to get, I don't know if it's got to be part of this motion or not, but I mean, yes, we need the information sessions. There's obviously standard process that needs to be followed, but we need to get information on our website, that whether it's stuff we can type up and then somebody else redlines and approves and gets it there. But I mean, I know already what the frequently asked questions are, and I'm sure Tabitha knows them as well.
Right.
There are things that people are going to want to know before, and like the informational session, if it's got to be live, that's not going to work, right? I mean, if it's a Zoom meeting, great, but we should prepare people with the information. 90% of the questions may already be answered. Right?
Absolutely. But again, website content, I think, we need to just, that's once the council says that. So I'll add that to this as well, that, you know, well, it's in there, you know, concurrent with setting up the informational meeting, the water board is committed to providing website content,
Yeah.
announcing the SAD and I'll add
Yeah,
providing
okay.
information.
Good.
Sure.
And then also providing social media content on the SAD. And then thirdly, we will continue to work on getting, you know, the minimum 30 households committed. So-
Mike-
Paul said he's gonna get 20 of them.
Easy.
Yes,
I'll
Mike,
go
Bob.
door to door.
I have a question.
Hmm.
In this request, would it be, you know, like I don't live where there's access for me to hook in, okay?
Yeah.
But I know the whole surrounding the lake, and there's some other streets that are involved. Would it
Yeah.
make sense that in this, we spell out those streets? Maybe a lot of
Yes.
people aren't
Yep.
really aware, you know,
If
like
I-
if it's Lakeview, Benstein, whatever, you know, people that live on those streets, to make
Mhm.
them, you know, if they read this, it rings a bell.
Paul, didn't you have a map of all
If,
that?
yes,
we have a map.
yeah, if I could make a couple of points. One is 30 is a good number, but I think overall as a water management board, the whole notion of going for a SAD is to improve the overall water quality and get as many people as possible encouraged to do this. So we just get off of
Right.
septics at the lake. The other thing is when I prepare this stuff that I hope will be able to go on the website, it will include not only the rote information, here's the technical nuts and bolts of what needs to happen, but a rationale for why it's a good thing to do. I did get some frequently asked question stuff from the village. I would include that. Unless they put a cap on how much we can tell people, I want to tell people as much as we can. There shouldn't be a content limit on the web. I do have a map that talks to who would be eligible and who would not. And I would like to include that online so people can just look and see if they're part of the process.
Right.
So as
Well-
much of that as we can front load before we do a informational meeting, the better, I think.
And the village has provided me, and I didn't give it to you guys, but I have a list, you know, written list of all of the roads that are impacted. So Bob, we can include this in our motion if we need to.
Yeah, I've got that.
Well, I just thought, you know, it would bring somebody's attention to it more. You know, if
Yeah.
they say, well, geez, I live on this street, and you know,
No,
I
yeah,
haven't had,
absolutely.
you know, I've been in the house 20 years and never had septic work or anything else. This might be an incentive for them to lead to go to it.
I think that's part of however they call the informational meeting, right? I mean, they're gonna need to
Yeah.
identify who's actually impacted by it for
Mhm.
it to be of any value.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think having on the website, having on a map, having like I said,
Yeah.
frequently asked questions section, details on why the water management board cares about this.
Mhm.
All of that. I think you guys have.
We're gonna leave that up. We're gonna leave that up to Paul. He's gonna nail that one down.
Yeah,
The
I
other
sent
I'd like to
something.
include, if possible, is a way to get a feedback loop from people that take a look at the information, then they have questions. If we could get those questions back before the informational meeting, so that if we have an engineer or somebody that needs to find out
Yeah.
more stuff,
Yeah,
we can do that.
Okay. Well,
Sorry, Ryan, I interrupted.
We can do that. I mean, as part of putting it on the web, we're gonna put it on the web.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So it'll be out there and we'll be able to get questions on it.
okay, well, my intent to have this call was to clarify the path, and I think the path is at least clear to me.
Mhm.
And I think we've got our arms around it now. I did talk to those guys about whether it was in our purview to even be doing this, and based on water quality, it absolutely is. So that's not a problem.
I've got a question about this, February newsletter thing and the timing of that relative to getting this to council. I mean, if we want to get something in this newsletter, does that jive with the next?
I-
meeting coming?
We're not gonna be able to put anything into a newsletter for February. we can't, I really don't want to do anything before we've got council's buy-in. I don't want to get out in front of them and then have to fight
I
the,
know, but I'm saying, is this something that we need to wait until the council meeting, or is there something we can make a motion to council before the actual meeting, or is?
we literally can't make a motion period until our meeting in February.
I understand that.
And their meeting is a week, their meeting is a week later, so.
When does the newsletter go out?
I think when Tabitha was asking for, you mean for the spinal column
Yep.
piece?
Or whatever.
think she wanted
the
that-
newsletter.
Yeah, I think she had something that she wanted for this coming week.
Tomorrow,
Oh, this week. Oh, okay.
tomorrow was that deadline.
Okay. I thought
But
that was
maybe
February.
there'll be another opportunity, Ryan, right after we get
Yeah.
with councils. But yes, getting something in the spinal column as quickly as possible is also helps the fast track here.
Yep.
Well, if you guys are good with this, if we have any other discussion about it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send everybody an email with this in Word, this motion, and then you guys can, if you want to touch it up or whatever, edit it, add content. I will add the streets at the top end of this as well. I guess I need to ask Sherry if we can actually provide her with something in writing so that we don't have to dictate this massive motion and then she has to try to transcribe it. So, but we'll figure that out as well. But I want to have this motion ready to go when we get together in early February. Anybody have anything else? I mean, is this looking clear to you guys? It's much clearer to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think it makes sense.
Yeah,
Mike?
Bob Malik. I have another thought. You're talking about the village newsletter. And I know it's short, but maybe just a little sentence in there that keep your eyes open for a special assessment district for sewer hookup or something. So, it'll kind of motivate. I don't know if it would make sense to throw a line like that in or not.
Well,
Well-
I'll go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
Well, Bob, and you're probably more in tune to this than I am, but I just didn't feel comfortable with putting anything out to the public until council knows what we're up to.
Yeah, I understand. Well, again, I'm trying to think ahead to make it possible is my.
Well, the
thought,
other
so.
thing is, I don't know if it's possible either, but we have a list of streets here. If the village has these people, it has the emails, we could blast out an email very quickly as
Sure.
well. So, but I don't know, that's a limitation. I don't know if we have that or not. Or just put a blast email out like they do about garbage.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
So, anyway, man, I know that we read those because we always want to know if our garbage can get picked up.
Yeah.
So, all right, well,
Yep. Mike, I
Not
had
the
one
re-
other question. Other than the proposed motion, are you going to be able to send us the rest of your PowerPoint here?
I probably can as soon as I get it edited and get the right calendar year on there.
It's got a lot of good information and would be
I
helpful
will
could you-
send you guys, I will send you this document.
to be able to use it as something.
Probably tomorrow.
Okay.
I will send you the proposed motion in Word, and I'll also send you the village document that I got today on, which includes those steps that I showed you, which I lifted off, as well as what the petition looks like, okay?
Okay.
Hey, Paul, you have that map that shows what addresses are on and which are not on yet?
I had that initially. The concern I had was if we publish addresses based on who can and who does have it and who doesn't have it. I don't know that I'm not comfortable with that being a flashpoint.
No,
I
was
mean,
wondering
I've
if you
got a
can-
map that I got
Yeah.
a map that shows who would be eligible to hook up if nobody were hooked up.
Yeah, I was just wondering, can you send that to me? I'm just curious to see how many people, what's our potential?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
thanks.
I'll get that out. I think I sent it out once. I'll send it out
Oh,
again.
did you? Okay.
It's all right.
Yeah, I understand the concern. I think it's valid that we not list by a street address who's on and who isn't.
Yeah.
So,
Well, gentlemen, while we're talking sewers, Bob Malik here again, and we're going through this, would it make sense to also put a note in if there's any streets that are interested in doing the infrastructure for the future of sewers? You
wow,
know,
Bob,
I mean-
that's a big one.
It's a whole different
I
pie.
know, but but my point is, if that's somewhere at the tail end, there might be a homeowner that has an interest on his block of, going to his neighbors and seeing what a petition, if they're, interested. You
Yeah.
might find more than we think. I don't know, okay?
Bob, is that
Just
something
a thought.
you could bring up? Is that something you could bring up at the council level, though?
Sure.
I mean, we
Sure.
don't need to make a motion on that, and I think that, I think that that's a good, I know you guys are going into your planning on what you want to get accomplished in 2021, so
Right.
maybe an investigation of additional infrastructure is part of that, but
Sure. Well, I
such a big
mentioned that-
ticket item, I don't have the guts to bring that up from the water board.
Well, here's the thing though. See, I live in Spring Lake Heights. When I live a block off, Del Monte is on the water. I live at the next street at Thurston. And when they did Del Monte, I had an interest of talking with neighbors and all, because Del Monte and Thurston intersect on the very west end of Thurston, or excuse me, the very east end of Thurston. It would have been so much easier to tie into that line and come back down Thurston to Benstein. But there were so many people that just no. So
Yeah.
I just stayed away
Yeah.
from it. Again, I just replaced my septic last year. A year before, a gentleman across the street, and I've got two more in the neighborhood that have just done theirs, not on Thurston, but in my neighborhood. So, I
Mhm.
mean, it's happening.
Mhm.
And the infrastructure somewhere would make sense.
Well, if I might, the only reason I think we have a purview to do it the way we're doing it is because the people that we're targeting are riparians. They would have a direct impact on lake quality. So that's kind of our in with that. I don't know that holds true if we move away from the lake. It no longer becomes a water management thing.
Well,
I see
the
what you're
run-
saying as far as once the ball's rolling.
yeah. It's the total community. It's a matter of time.
Mhm.
We might not see it, but it's going to happen somewhere, sometime.
Yeah,
I would think anyway. I'm assuming that. Okay.
I agree.
All right. I just wanted to throw it out there.
All right. By the way, I don't know if I told you guys, but Bob signed up for the MSU course, so he's gonna be
All right, Bob.
way up there, way smarter than us in about 6 weeks.
Let me tell you something. I talked to Dave Gillum yesterday, and he signed me into this course. So I go online and I try to get in, and I'm not a computer buff. Okay, I mean, I was pulling my hair out. Thank God I still have some. And I just shut it down and I called David and I says, what the hey have you gotten me into? Okay. I mean, Jesus, things all over the place. So after I got to relax, I called my grandson who's in his mid-20s, and he comes down and he punches it all in. And after about 35 minutes, he got me all set up. He got me a web bar put in. I could just punch in, log in, and the whole 9 yards. And he looked at me and he says, Grandpa, he says, I know what you're saying. He says, you got to understand, I've been on computers with school since I was in grade school. And through grade school, junior high, high school, he's taken college courses. He says, I know what all the symbols are, where to go, what to do, what to skip. He says, and I can see your frustration. So he just simplified everything for me. And God willing, I'll be able to go through the course.
Well, you're going to love the
And-
graduation party.
Well, yeah, I bet. But at one point I was about, I was ready to tell David to call back and see if you get your money back.
Hmm.
But I think
Well-
it'll work out.
Does anybody have anything else to add?
I'm good.
All right, then
Bye.
I move we adjourn.
Support.
Second.
Third.
Yeah, it's not an official meeting, so I think an I do is sufficient with everybody.
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
Okay, guys, thank you.
Thank
We're
you.
out of here.
Good meeting.
All right.
Everybody, have a good
Thanks.
evening.
Yeah.
Bye,
Yeah,
Bob.
you too.